Hi, I'm Sylvia. Thanks for stopping by. This would be my first video that I'm putting up. I primarily make cards, although with this channel I am looking to do lots of different crafts, and hopefully they will be helpful to other people in learning how to be creative with different mediums. So let's get started. So I decided the first video I'd make would be for a card, and I am using a stamp set from Art Impressions, and it's called Hedgehog Kit. Oh, nope, Hedgehog Set. Along with that, I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. That is my preferred for using with Copic markers because it does not smear. And how cute is he? And so the thought behind this one was that I was going to use Copic markers and a background that I had already colored at some point. Not even sure what I colored it with. That way I can use up some of what I've already got around the craft room. Okay, so in order to not make a mess later, I put a piece of paper in that contraption, and that contraption is a Tim Holtz stamping platform. That's a Tim Holtz stamping platform, which makes stamping so much easier because you can line things up, though it's not foolproof, and you'll see that a little later in the video. Okay, so those are the Copic markers that I was talking about. I've been collecting them for a little while now. I try to look for them when they're on sale. Okay, so I have a couple of different greens, it looks like here, and I'm trying to show you the tops of them. That one's upside down. There we go. So we have G43, YG05, and YG67. Now I'm a starter for sure with Copic, so I can't tell you about the numbers or the meanings. There's lots of videos out there that will kind of explain all of that, and I will probably list a couple of things down below with links to people like Sandy Allnock, who's great at coloring, and she's great at Copic markers. I will try in most of my videos to either put the caps down if I can remember, or I will list the information in the description box below. Okay, so looks like I am trying to get a couple of color swatches. So that I can figure out how I want to color this. Now, when I start a card, I really don't have a specific plan always. I see lots of people use card sketches, and that's great, but for me, I tend to do one-off cards. I don't make duplicates too often. And so I kind of make it up as I go along. So first thing I tend to do is to put the lightest color, then the medium color, and then the dark color, which tends to be the shadow. I don't necessarily have a specific light source, which would kind of give you your shadows. So again, as I go along, I sort of test to see what looks good, and if it looks good, I stick with it. And along the way, you're going to see me kind of pause from time to time, and that's me thinking. Again, I don't have a exact plan when I get started. Now, thinking back what I could have done to make things easier on myself, rather than take out a whole container of markers, I should have probably just picked a couple, two or well, maybe 3 to 4, and put the rest aside, because I think later I start to confuse myself with which color combination I want to use. Now I do have these swatched out on another piece of paper, and so I have them kind of marked so I can see what they look like on just a basic white paper, and that helps me. And then with time I sort of get used to what the colors will do. So there's a pause. That means I'm thinking. Okay, so now moving on to the pot for the cactus. And it's a little strange because the coloring looks a little off when I'm looking through the camera. So, well, I might have been going for the hedgehog at this point. I guess we'll see. Okay, thinking, and what will she do next? Nope, that looks like I'm starting to get some terracotta colors out. Maybe? I seem to do a lot of second guessing. Some brown on, yep, going for the terracotta. So, no idea what that color is, but I do want to get the darker portions closest to the hedgehog, sort of the areas that will be away from the light that would cast sort of a shadow. And I'm just switching completely to another area. So hedgehog feet. And again, no idea what color that is. But I think you can go with just a lighter color for the feet than the rest of the body. Let's see, oh, look at that. E17. And that, I believe, is going to be for the hedgehog's fur. And I think I'm starting to kind of decide what I'll do for the body. Yep, YR27, is that going to be for the body of the hedgehog? It's a guessing game. Okay, we'll see. All right. So sometimes I'm a little bit tentative when it comes to starting to color something, but then once I just go for it, it usually turns out fine. Copic markers are really, even though they're pricier, they're really easy to work with for the most part. Worst case scenario, you throw it away. Not the marker, the project. Okay, oh, it's got such cute hair. Okay, so again, those tips are pretty good for getting into the smaller spaces. I don't even know if I used that color. If I just put, I guess I changed my mind. Okay, so I'm gonna put on a little bit of music and let it play through my coloring the rest of the hedgehog, and then I will come back probably about the time when we talk about why the stamping platform is helpful and knowing when to stop when you're ahead. Okay, and so we're back. And so now I've got the image colored. And so this is what we call fussy cutting. So I use, they are cutter bee scissors, really sharp. Some people prefer to go right on the black line. Others leave a little bit of a white border. I do a little bit of both here. My cutting is not exact, but you can always fix that up at the end. You take a little bit of a black marker and just sort of go back over the black portion, and here I am, I'm cutting away some of the extra. Just makes it easier to handle. So there's a couple of tips when you're cutting out or fussy cutting. One of them is that you should be moving the paper and not the scissors as you're cutting. I do an okay job here, and I'm not being precise when it comes to the little hairs and the little, they're not thorns, the cactus. Oh, somebody tell me, remind me in the comments. I'm drawing a blank here. So, okay, so the hair or quills of the porcupine. Nope, that's a hedgehog, not a porcupine. Let's call it hair. The hair on the hedgehog. Got around that. And then with the cactus, some of them I am following, others I'm just sharing them right off. The idea here is just to get around the stamped image. I was trying to block some of the glare. And there we go. Yeah, that's a better example right there. See how I was moving the paper? It's easier for your hands. When you craft a lot, you do find that your hands hurt a bit more, so I try to find ways where I can reduce some of that stress, if you will, on my hands. Okay, so almost done with the cutting here, and then from here I will be getting a sentiment that I'm going to be putting, let's see, and I went with the thinking of you. The cards that I'll be making, I'm going to be sending out to friends nearby and out of state, just people, a couple of friends who are in the healthcare industry and out of state. So there's my happy hedgehog. All right, so I'm going to clear all that out of the way. You can see my light above. And I believe I'm going to be getting the stamping platform out. Probably looking for it. I've tried to set my room up so that I don't have to get up too much to find the things, all the things, but oh, nope, I was looking for my background. So that, oh, that is distress ink, and those are very helpful. They're water reactive. Those are also Tim Holtz, come in a ton of colors, and I kind of just did a rainbow background at some point, thought I'd use it up, so here I am thinking. And now I'm going to get my sentiment. The nice thing about the clear ones are that you can place it all just on top of your card and see pretty much what it's going to look like. You just have to pick the color of ink that you're going to use. And I went with the thinking of you. I think I'm just going to go with the straight black. I don't think I did anything fancy. Okay, so here is the Tim Holtz platform again. And I'm going to be placing, oh, I wiped it off. I'm always worried that that black ink's going to get on whatever project I'm working on, which will not be the worst thing that happens here in a moment. So, okay, so I'm trying to give you a better look and get rid of that glare. I'll have to work on that. Okay, so with the little magnets that come with it that holds down the paper, which is nice so that it doesn't slide on you. Okay, this is like knowing the end of Titanic and still hoping for a different ending. Now, I mentioned I don't have a plan always, and sometimes you just have to roll with it. So that would be, here comes number 2, stamping number 2. Now you're going to watch. I'm going to press it down. Try not to be too hard, not to squish it. And I'm thinking, nope, I need one more time. Nope, there's was that number 3? I decided, now you see that little nudge? I decided one more time would make it perfect. And what happens? Well, it was off. So, thinking hand says, turn it over. Stamp on the other side. See if you can cover it up with the cutout. And he's too short. Now I'm going to move it around and move it around, and thinking, well, this isn't good. I only had one of these backgrounds. So what if I put them on his side? Nope, there's just a little section that pokes out. What if I turn it around? Nope. I'm gonna go back to the beginning again, thinking maybe somehow it stretched since the last time I did it. Nope, that didn't work either. Now, I don't want to have to start over and make another background because I'm trying to use up what I have in the craft room. And I think this is important to do. Not to hoard things and to use them up and to make cards that make people happy. So, no, I'm still trying. I am determined. If I hold it up, maybe. Nope, that's not going to work either. So, that's not going to work either. Thoughts, thoughts, thoughts. I think it's time for a little bit of a card surgery. So here in a moment, it's time for the scissors. So I'm cutting along the area between the yellow and the green. And I figured I might be able to either use just that side and maybe another piece of cardstock, kind of trying to make it smoother there, that transition. It's a little jagged. And now I've got to think, how am I going to put a background on this now? So, okay, so here is where I am now deciding how can I get this on a card to not look wonky. And here's where I pull in that other piece, and I'm thinking if I can just piece them together close enough and Hedgehog can cover the mistake and no one will ever know, except whoever gets this card and possibly watches this video. But I'll deal with that later. Okay, so now I am going to, yet again, try to put the sentiment, only this time I need to clean it. Well, I should have cleaned it off because there probably are some remnants. I guess I was just living dangerously. Do you see the bottom? There's a little bit of black. Yeah. I don't learn. I should have cleaned it off. But okay, so this time, one stamp, holding my breath and hoping that this, I think I might have said a little prayer, and I don't learn. Here I am, number 2. I think I learned this time. Just 2 stamps and that's enough. So what will fix that or help prevent it is to make sure that I have my cardstock in the paper in the same place and make sure that I'm careful that I don't move it out of alignment. Okay, so I'm happy I can figure out how to cobble this together. So now I just need to find the alignment again that I had earlier so that I can tape those two pieces together. And I'm going to tape that behind the hedgehog. And what I'm going to use is washi tape, and I just use whatever washi tape's available. I try to use what is sort of plain and what I've had for a while, so that, because that does lose its stickiness after a while. So I'm trying to hold it in place. I'm trying to reach over, and I'm trying to find my, it's actually kind of a purple tape. It's not the purple tape that everyone uses, but it's a purple tape. Okay, so setting that in the middle. So now at least I've got everything together. Again, no one's gonna know. It's handmade cards, you know, it's the thought, it's the effort put into it. So, and here's my glue. So I do have a pin in there so that it does not dry out. That doesn't guarantee it won't, but it's easier to unclog. And here I'm having to use all my brute strength to get the glue out. Probably running low on it. Pretty sure this is my quilling glue, which I haven't done since I took the class a couple months ago. Again, so part of the reason I'm starting the YouTube channel is so that I can use the products that I have and have a reason to work with them, learn from other people who might have tips. So I'm hoping that you'll leave any kind of comments or tips. You know, do you plan out your cards, or do you sort of go with the flow and see what comes of it? All right, so another type of adhesive is this tape adhesive. I tend to go and buy the refills. I've had the same, I don't know, 8 cases that I just keep refilling, just to avoid having to use more plastic. It's less waste. And there's my card. Now that's the card front. So I'm going to need to get a card base, and I'm trying to, actually, I didn't even look for my bone folder to sort of make sure that's adhered to the bottom, to the card. Okay, so I have a white card base, and I was actually going to try for a darker, I'm not sure why, but I decided on the white card base, and to give it more interest, I decided I'd cut off a few, I don't know, bits. I don't even know, again, not measuring. I don't know exactly how much I cut off, but I want enough to have a border, a white border from the white card base. So I just sort of trim and try to have it even on both sides. After a while, after some time doing cards, you sort of get a feel for what looks good to your eye. And here I saw, well, it looked okay on the sides, but I think I need a little bit off on the bottom and on the top. And I want to say that maybe that's probably 1/8 of an inch. I think I was happy with it at this point. Nope, just a little bit more. And then once I've got this trimmed down to the size that I want for the front of the card base, and that's just my Fiskars trimmer. Again, I'm going to try to put as much of the tools that I use. And what I'm using today can be pretty much the basics of what you can get to make cards. Cardstock, some ink. I would suggest Memento, Tuxedo Black ink, or some kind of ink that won't smear, with different mediums like Copics or watercolors. Oh, and I see that it's starting to come up on that side, since I did have to Frankenstein it together. And I'm trying to get glue on both sides of it, close to the edge, but ideally it doesn't ooze out the side. So I go looking probably for something to hold it down. Oh, making sure I put my pen in. That will dry out on you pretty quickly. Okay, so I'm looking probably, and I'm probably going to reach for whatever's closest to me. I don't have any specific tools to hold down the paper while it's drying. I want to thank you for stopping by and watching the video, and I do hope that you'll subscribe for the next videos that I put up. Please feel free to leave any comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.